Well, good morning. Welcome on what is a bit of a grey and dismal October morning here in the UK. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and hopefully I'm not too grey and dismal on this Monday morning. So welcome. As always on a Monday morning, we come on and we look at our product of the week, and we have a go at reproducing one of the little samples in the catalogue. Have a general bit of chit chat and fun, so do come on and say hello. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from, what you're up to, what your plans are for this week, and do share out this video as well so that other people can find us and join us as well. So what is our product of the week this week going to be? I feel as if we need a drum roll at this point. So the product of the week this week, we're going back to Christmas. So last week we stepped out of Christmas for a week because it was my birthday week and we thought we'd do birthday type things. This week we're getting back into Christmassy things, and we are going to be looking at this Bells Are Ringing. Hi Wendy, thank you. You are a treasure. So yes, Bells Are Ringing are what we're going to be looking at this week. And this has been a surprising bundle for me. It actually probably has been the bundle that I've sold more of than any other. Hi Megan. It's a lovely set. I don't know why that should surprise me. I suppose I just expect the sort of quirkier sets to go, but it just shows you that actually if you get a really lovely traditional sort of style stamp set and dies, it still has an awful lot of appeal. And these bells are really lovely because it's not just one sort of bell. You've got a whole host of bells in this set, and we'll have a quick look at those in just a second. So here we are in the catalogue. We've got this lovely set, and I'll show you the stamp set in a bit more detail in a minute. And we've got these beautiful dies, and I'll show you those in a minute. And we've got a selection of samples, and there's another sample at the front with the bundle. There we are down there. Now I have to say, when I first looked at the samples in the catalogue for this one, I wasn't overly inspired. I quite like that little tin, and this one actually is nicer when you start to look at it close up and see all the detail in the background. But it's almost as if they're sort of quite subdued colours. And they don't need to be. Your bells can be as lively and as colourful as you want them to be. So let me just quickly share with you some of the projects that I've already made with this stamp set. So this was one that was part of the choices at my Christmas card buffet a few weeks ago. So with my Christmas card buffet, you pay to come along. You could make as many cards as you like out of all the 20 or so samples that are there, but you get to choose to take one stamp set home, and this was one of the choices. And as I say, it was probably my most popular choice. So these are in cellophane bags, so you might get a bit of a shine off of them. So that one was a white and silver version that got Christmas wishes on it, but could easily be wedding or anniversary, and that was really highlighting those really beautiful detailed dies. And this bow on the top here is stamped and embossed on silver foil. So yep, so that was a Christmassy one that could be used for other things. This one I used my Stamparatus, so I used the hand bells and my Stamparatus to make a hand bell wreath with that one. So that was good fun. I love the fact that you get the different bells. So we've got like the big church bells, we've got the little hand bells, you've got your little jingly bells. We're going to be playing with those this morning. So there's a jingle bell card, and again really bright. And this one is Pretty Peacock and copper, the copper ink pad, quilted background. Some of that gorgeous paper from the gleaming set. Beautiful. So those were my Christmas cards that I did for my Christmas card buffet, and this is one that's coming up in the county classes that I'm about to do. So I do 4 classes a month that I take round the county, and this is one of the options, and that one is in purples, gorgeous grape and Highland heather with a bit of mossy meadow thrown in. So You really don't have to use subdued colours for this stamp set. But I thought we would have a go this morning. I seem to be having a problem. Sorry, I'm just trying to find you on my laptop, but I seem to be having problems with you coming up this morning. Let's go in another way. Ah, oh, there you are. I found you. Okay. The mysteries of technology. You weren't there and then suddenly there you are. Okay, so this morning, where was I? Lost train of thought. Squirrel. See something in the background and I'm off. Okay, so I thought what we would do today is that we would have a little go at this little card down here using these jingle bells. And that's not a very good picture. So the picture that I've got in the list of ingredients that I've been able to download is actually a nice brighter picture than that. So let's have a look at this stamp set. So you've got your jingle bell and you've got your hand bell and you've got your large church bell. Now if you look at this church bell, you've got it sort of divided up. You've got these ridges going across here. So this stamp set here will stamp the top and bottom one. So that will infill those. This stamp here will infill this bit. These stamps will infill this bit, so you have a choice of which one you'd like, whether you'd want the flowery one or the swirly one to do your infill just there. Got a few greetings. This one, which looks like a fabulous clown's red nose, is actually the infill for your bell, and that is what I used as my background on here. I've just stamped that bell, that little bell shape lots and lots of times in the background. You've got this lovely sort of bit of mistletoe just here, and your bell, your bow, too many bees. As I said, some nice Christmas greetings. With Christmas here, may your heart be full with songs of cheer, hoping this season is filled with joy. And then this one is ringing the new year, so that's quite nice. That gives you a different take. You can use your bells for New Year's cards rather than Christmas cards if you're not looking to make Christmas cards this year. So there is our stamp set. The dies that go with it, obviously you've got a die to cut out your handbell, this cuts out your little mistletoe, this cuts out your bow, you've got an outer and an inner bell there, so that is your outside, and this gives you like a poinsettia topper that can sit on the top. This will actually cut out the stamped image that's in the stamp set, but then again you've got a layered detail bell piece that you can overlay on the top. This one is just a long little bell. It looks almost like if you just had a little stand under it, it would make quite a nice tailor's dummy, wouldn't it? You've got these fancy jingle bells. There is an outer jingle bell somewhere. That's it. I've already had that this morning. So you've got your outer jingle bell and then you've got these fancy inners. So yeah, so that's all your dies. So a nice selection of dies to go with those stamp sets. So what are we going to create today? We're going to create our jingle bells. Now I'm aware that you won't going to necessarily want to sit and watch me stamp, colour and cut out a whole host of jingle bells. So I have got some, here's some I made earlier. So there's some I've already coloured. There's one I've got stamped ready to colour, but we want one more. So I'm going to have a sip of my tea because I have had a bit of a sore throat this last week. So I'm having to ease my voice gently so that it keeps going. Right. Let's just bring that up a little bit so we're not going off camera. There we go. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got my Sahara Sand ink pad. I still haven't got round to updating to all new ink pads yet, but I will do. So I'm going to ink up my Jingle Bell stamp with the Sahara Sand ink pad, and I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it onto this piece of card. Now that is very faint, but that is okay. That's what I want it to be. So this is like no line watercolouring, only it's not watercolouring. It's no line stamping blends colouring. So let me see, what colours have I got? What colours do I need? I think I'm going to have a I'm going to have another mint macaron and another purple posy. So I've got one here that's already stamped and cut out, just ready to be coloured, and I've got this one ready to be coloured, and then we'll die cut that one. So let's start with purple posy. So obviously, you know, you can have great fun colouring these in as you like, but I tend to go round the edges just to give me that sort of outside line. Give it a bit of a squiggle. This is the darker of the two colours. I'm going to come underneath that central ridge and again give myself an outline. And then I'm going to come in with the light purple posy, and I don't claim to be an expert colourer of any sort, but you do need to just keep working away and blending out that colour. To start with, you get sort of like the stripes, but keep working on it and it will blend out. And we'll do the same on the bottom. Then we'll come round that centre band. Now the one thing that I'm going to bring in the light smoky slate, and the other colours that we've got, this is a smoky slate bell, and this one is a purple posy like the one we've just done. This is a mint macaron one. We're going to do another one of those in a minute, and this is a pool party one. But what I've done is, what you find is this sort of, this piece here disappears a little bit, so I've just taken the light smoky slate and sort of almost drawn that back in. I mean, I have to say that with these bells, I love these bells. But once you've seen these as really cute smiley babies with their woolly hats over their eyes, it's very difficult to unsee that. So I do apologise, because I've just given you that vision now as well. But that's what I see when I see these, is a whole host of little smiley babies whose hats are covering their eyes. I shall have to do something with that at one point. I think I might have to put them in a pram or something. So that's our little purple posy one coloured. Let us do this mint macaron one. Oh, that's the brush side. I don't really want the brush side just because I can't get the detail. Brush side is fabulous if you're colouring in a large area. Not so good if you want to do a bit more of a precise area. So again, we're just going to take the dark around the outline, give it a bit of an outline to fill in, and then we'll come in with our light mint macaron, and again we'll work out that colour so we lose those lines, we blur out those lines where the two colours meet so it blends into one. And the same on the bottom. And we need to do our central ridge. There we go, and then taking our light smoky slate, we'll put back in our smiley face. Okay. Hi Angie, thank you for sharing. You are a star. Okay, so there we have a little collection of bells. We just need to die cut this final bell. What safe place did I put my big shot in? That can't be buried, it's too big. Right, okay, so we have our die cutting machine. Let me just pop my stamping blends to one side, bring in my die cutting machine. Now I have actually popped the magnetic base plate on this on my machine today, just to make it a little bit easier to cut that little bell without it shifting. Let's find our jingle bell die. Here we are. And you might need to move that around. You do find sometimes that with a magnetic base plate, sometimes your die will jump. If that happens, just move it to a different part of the base plate. You might notice that my base plate is getting quite a crack in it. I do need to replace it. But I never replace these things until it's, you know, an absolute must. While they're still working, that's good enough for me. Okay, so there we have a purple posy jingle bell to go with our other little jingle bells. Let's move that out of the way. Right, we are going to need a card base, and this one is just a Whisper White card base, and I'm going to do it as a side opening one. So I've just got a piece of extra thick Whisper White card here, which I'm going to turn this way so that the long way is at the top, and I'm going to score it at 14.9, and I'm going to swing it round and cut it at 10.5, and then when we fold that. Hi Karen, it's lovely to have all you lovely Australian ladies joining me on a Monday morning. I think the UK lot are all still in bed, well, some of them. But you're all up and at it, finished your day nearly, heading for tea time. Right, so get your brain back intact. The trouble is I've not been up long enough. My brain isn't functioning fully, and I am feeling not 100%. So apologies if I'm even more scatty than usual. Is that possible? Okay, that's my trimmer just crashing to the ground. I haven't yet received my new trimmer. It is going to be on its way soon. I was waiting till I was putting in a big order anyway, which I'm going to be doing either today or tomorrow. So then I shall have my new trimmer. That will be exciting. I will share that with you. Yeah, Monday evening. Yeah, we're early Monday morning, and it is grizzly and it's raining. You might be able to hear the rain on the conservatory roof. Yeah, it's not a sunny, bright Monday morning at all. I know, Div, I know you're here. You're up and at it on this grim Monday morning. Right, okay. So the card in the brochure, in the catalogue, used one of the really nice frames from that Halloween set. And I haven't succumbed to that yet. I don't do Halloween very well, or I don't really do Halloween. So I sort of, although I am aware that these frames are beautiful, so I haven't got those frames. So we're going to do a bit of an alternative, and we are actually going to use a punch rather than a frame for our greeting. Get back to my page, so I've got some idea of where I'm going. So I've got a piece of pool party, so just an oddment of pool party card just there, and I have my stamp set just here, and we need the greeting that says, hoping this season is filled with joy. That's the trouble, isn't it, Megan? You know, it's like all these things, isn't it? People who have curly hair want straight hair. People who have straight hair want curly hair. We've got rain and go, oh, we wish we got sunshine. You're like, oh, please send us some rain. Why can we not box it up and send it to you? This week is actually sort of, the idea this week is to send out cards. I wish I could send you a card and attach to it a little sort of rain making box or something, so that we could send you some of your rain, because in parts of the country here over the weekend we've had more rain than we know what to do with, and there's flooding on the roads and all sorts of things. So it's a mad old world, isn't it? If only we could somehow share out the rain, send it to places that need it when we've had more than sufficient, thank you, and that we're all getting webbed feet. Okay, so hoping this season is filled with joy and a little bit of rain for you. Just is awful, isn't it? And there's us complaining about the rain and you've just got dreadful drought. We don't need excess of any of these things, do we? Okay, basic grey. This is another ink pad that I have not yet replaced, so my basic grey is actually still the old archival ink. But for this occasion, it is just the colour that we want. Obviously, if I needed it to do my outline to colour with my my blends, I wouldn't have used it because it is a solvent-based ink. And they are solvent-based pens, and you always need to mix your alcohol and water. Oh dear. I'm sure in years to come, scientists will come up with a way of sharing out the water a bit better. But for now, it just isn't fair, is it? Right, so hoping this season is filled with joy. And we've just stamped that onto some pool party card, and I've used this timeless label to punch it out with. It's a nice shape, it's not too wide, it's a narrower label, sort of a bit narrower and longer, so it does that job perfectly. So we have our card base, we have our 6 jingle bells. Oh, I've put big T on that one. And we have our greeting. We have a little bit of the grey granite ribbon with this nice white board around it. Textured weave ribbon, so some grey granite textured weave ribbon, and I'm going to snip that end off. That was awful, Helen. One of the other things that I need to order is a new pair of snips that are just going to be ribbon scissors, not used for anything else. The other end is going to be buried, so it doesn't matter what size, what that looks like. So we're going to have a bit of ribbon coming across the bottom there somewhere. We're going to have some jingle bells. We'll have one under there. I'm just going to lay this out before we stick it on, while we decide where things go. We shall have our greeting coming on the top here somewhere. We'll have a purple posy bell just there. I might snip that off a little bit, make it a bit shorter. So one there, one there, one there. We'll have a purple posy bell just there. We'll have another mint macaron one coming underneath there somewhere. A pool party one just up there. Smoky slate. And another I know, I'm sorry, they are just baby faces, aren't they? They're just like little smiling baby faces with little woolly hats on that look as if they're just peering at you from their pram. Right, I need my silver thread. I had that the other day, so I've obviously popped that in a basket ready for a class. I've got quite a few classes going on this week. Archival ink will stain your stamps, yeah, because it's like stays on really. It's sort of more of a permanent ink. It'd be a bit like colouring in your stamps with your stamping blends, if you've ever done that. If you or had somebody do that instead of the stamping white markers, you'll know that it leaves them coloured. So yes, that will happen if you use a archival ink on your stamps. Right, I'm going to have a bit of a change of heart actually. I think I'm going to take a note card because I think this card base needs to be a little bit smaller. I think we'll come down a size. This is the fun and games, you see, because we're trying to sort of recreate the one in the catalogue, but you don't necessarily have a whole lot of instructions. I think that will look better because I think that will bring them closer together. Yes. So we're going to make it into a note card. Yeah. Our note cards are a fabulous little size. They are 3.5 inches by 5 inches. You get them, they come in a pack of 20 with the envelopes. And they are just a perfect little size, particularly if you're sending out thank you cards and those sorts of things where you don't want anything massive. But I am going to trim a bit more off of that ribbon. Okay, so let's build. One of these days I might come on, you know, and be really, really organised and have thought all this out before we start. But you won't know what's hit you if I do that. You'll think I've been abducted by aliens. Right. And replaced with a robotic model. I'm going to just put some glue dots on the back of that ribbon just to attach that in place. And then this little mint macaron ribbon just here. I like this effect of using the Sahara sand to just trim off that top bit so it doesn't peep out the top. There we go. I like this effect of the Sahara sand stamping that sort of just gives you a very faint outline to colour with, but doesn't give you a harsh outline when you've finished on the finished article. Let's put a couple of dimensionals. Obviously you can do use the same technique if you're watercolouring, so that you get a watercoloured image, that you don't get your harsh outline. You can do that very same technique. A really pale colour, something like Sahara sand, is excellent. Let's put a little squiggle of Tombow on the back of our smoky slate bell. Let's have a dimensional on the back of this purple posy. Now obviously purple posy is one of the in colours. Oh, I know what I haven't done. Are we going to get away with lifting this greeting? Because what I've not done is I haven't put my silver thread underneath it. Let's do that now. Let's take a little bit of silver thread, wind it round my fingers a few times. Then let's attach that to those dimensionals. And then we'll pop it back in place. And then we'll give it a bit of a tweak and a fiddle and pull that out a little bit. Let's just trim off that stray one just there. Right, so there we are. We have our silver thread on there now. Let's have our we'll have another mint macaron one on the end of that ribbon just there, and another purple posy one. Popped up just there. And last but not least, we've got our pool party one. Do we want it flat or do we want it popped up? I think we're going to have it flat because the pool party and greeting is popped up. We'll have it slightly lower than those ones, I think, to give it a bit more interest. Right, there we are. Yep, I actually think it was very right to make that decision to go down to note card size with this one. So, hoping this season is filled with joy. And there you've got all your little jingle bells or your smiling babies or whatever you want to think of them as on your card. And they're all coloured in with those really nice pastel-y colours, using stamping blends. And the outlines have been stamped with Sahara sand that's been stamped off, just to give you a really subtle base for your colouring. So that's quite sweet. I quite like that one. I will add that to my collection of Belle cards. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are round and about, anybody that is round and about in the UK, in the Northamptonshire area, as I say, I have got quite a few things going on this week. Thank you, Megan. I have a class on Wednesday afternoon, which is a one sheet wonder. So that was fun. I had fun creating that. That was my creations for World Card Making Day on Saturday. I created 11 cards from one sheet, 12 by 12 sheet that I had printed, and then some ladies are going to join me on Wednesday afternoon to do just that. So Christmas themed one sheet wonder class on Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday evening, will be at Long Buckby Community Centre. That's the first of this month's tour around the county with our card making class. And then on Friday morning, we're going to be creating our either a memory album or a perpetual calendar, whichever you want to create with it. So that will be a nice morning. So if you are local and want to join me for any of that, do get in touch or check out my website at www.loveaduckie.co.uk. And if you are wanting to come on my retreat on the 19th of October, do get in touch sooner rather than later, because I'm about to send off the order for the goodie bag treats. So it wouldn't mean that you couldn't come at all, but it would mean that your goodie bag might be to follow if I can't get it in time. So that's all to be done today. Got lots to do towards that. So busy old week. Yeah, and thank you for joining me. But I will be back on Thursday evening when we will be playing with the Bells Are Ringing stamp set and the detailed dies a little bit more, to see what we can create. So this has been our recreating from the catalogue. On Thursday we'll be creating from our head. So do come and join me for that on Thursday, and if you can't come live, then do come and find me on Catch Up. And if you can either catch up on the Facebook page, or you can catch up on my YouTube channel, because I upload all of my videos to my YouTube channel when I've finished. And this week actually is we had card making day on Saturday, and that has now morphed into send a card week. I don't think that's the official hashtag, I'll have to look that up. But we're all being encouraged to send out cards this week, and something I want to keep a tally of how many have been sent. They're aiming for 50,000 cards to have been sent out over this coming week. So don't just make your cards, send your cards as well. Make a card, send a card. That's a bit early to send this one. But do send out lots of cards this week. Get involved with that. Anybody that you can think of that could do with a smile, then do send them a card during this next week. And I will see you all on Thursday.